What's up, guys? Did any of those work?
Yep.
I can't tell right
now. The videos? Yeah. They work.
Well, I've had one of those days. So I'm trying to like ghetto rig this because this morning, I was telling you guys backstage that this morning I started my Mac and then it was fine. Nothing was wrong. And then all of a sudden I moved everything around because I have to have an office for work now. So I had to kind of change things. And then I plugged it in. Nothing happened to it. And I plugged it in and it stopped working. So I'm without my computer, well, my desktop computer. And Apple can't fit me in until Tuesday for an appointment. So I apologize. Everything's kind of like lagging right now. But hello, how is everyone tonight?
Doing great. I'm doing great.
Good. TW, how you doing?
I'm good. I was like, I that's why I tweeted out what I tweeted out when you put out the tweet saying, "Hey, what happened to your rig?" I was like, "Oh dear God, no." That's why I'm like, "Are we still going on tonight?" No, because I was nervous. I'm like,
every single time.
Yeah. It wasn't until I go to YouTube and I'm like, "Oh, he's talking in the chat. Oh, so I guess are we still going on? Oh, okay, we're live. All right. Where's the link?"
But yeah, so before we get into anything, guys, pardon any lag on my end at least. But make sure to like the video, share it, subscribe if you haven't already, and support further by becoming a member, sending a super chat. I could definitely use the super chat money right now to help fix my computer, but that's neither here nor there. I'm very glad to have you all. This month we're giving away 2 copies of Zack Snyder's Justice League on Blu-ray and 4K to 2 members of the second tier and above. So all you have to do to be eligible is become a member by the end of September, and you could win one of the 2 copies. But I know that What If dropped. Has everyone seen it?
No, but I'm not watching What If, so I didn't.
Like any What If? You didn't even watch like the first one or something?
I have not. I'm familiar with what's going on, but like I just haven't watched it now because I am way behind on MCU stuff.
Yeah, I mean, so how was the new episode, guys? Because I last week kind of disappointed me a lot.
Well, like I said this before the show, but What If has been playing it way too safe, except for maybe episode 2 and 4. Doctor Strange, and also the Star-Lord T'Challa episode. It's just like, with the What If zombies, and then now with What If Killmonger saved Tony Stark. I feel like it's playing it entirely too safe, and we're not seeing anything of substance.
Yeah. I mean, the zombie episode let me down more than anything, I think, because I feel like that was going to be the most fun one. Like when I was looking into the season, I was like, okay, zombies, like Marvel zombies, we're not going to get that a lot ever. And then the way it went, I don't know what it was. It was just like stupid.
I'd have to say it's the format. Look, I get it. It's anthology. Everything is different. Not everything's tied together. Yada, yada, yada. But there are just some topics that you need more time to develop and have the beginning, middle, end, and have a finale and a proper conclusion that you would like. You know what I mean? So I don't want to say it's like it's like it doesn't have stakes, but I mean, it's the multiverse. I guess it doesn't have stakes because anything can happen, and once something happens, who cares? It's in some other universe, infinite light years away. So I don't know. Like I look at these episodes and it's like I'm just consuming. It's just I'm taking it in. I'm like, hey, yeah, MCU stuff, and then it's like it's not nourishing me. It's filling me up. I'm not being nourished. You know?
No. I definitely. You know what? I almost agree with you because I think my favorite episode was the third episode, the one with like the whodunit style thing. I feel like that was the most interesting one, and that's it. Like every other one's like been lackluster. It's just not a show that me personally I've been digging. I guess
What was
and
the
I'm not a huge
question for the
animated
third
fan
episode?
anyway.
It was what if Earth lost its mightiest heroes or something?
That was the third episode, yes.
So in Fury's big, we talk about third episode spoilers. I mean, I won't.
Yes.
I won't spoil the ending, but if you really want to see it, but it's basically just like it's Fury's big week. So it's like phase 1, right before the Avengers movie, and all of the people that Nick Fury's trying to recruit just suddenly end up dying. So he goes to Tony Stark. Tony Stark dies. He goes to Bruce Banner and University. He dies. Thor at the Shield facility. He dies.
Yep. So someone's like taking them all out.
Yeah.
It's almost like someone like it's almost like someone has a vendetta and doesn't want the Avengers to form, basically. Yeah. And but it's a really fun story. It's really intricate in the way it's assembled, and that one was nice. That was a good episode. However, everything before and after that has just seemed nonsense.
I disagree with you with that because with the Doctor Strange episode 4, I really like that episode, and it got me in the feels. Like it made me say, "Oh crap, that came out of Marvel." Like that was like the only one that I actually was taken aback because
that was the what if, like the sort of metaphorical question, like what if Doctor Strange had lost his heart instead of his hands?
Yeah, so like
okay, yeah.
So he kind of creates this paradox where he is already a sorcerer, but then he uses the time stone to reverse time to go back to the moment where he lost, Miss Palmer, love of his life. But her death is the thing that sparks him to be a sorcerer. So if he prevents that, then he will never become a sorcerer. And like that's like an absolute point in time because it's a necessity for that thing to happen for the whole universe to be, in order. It's like Groundhog Day. It's like the old man from Groundhog Day. Like Phil. No,
it's like Flashpoint.
Yeah. So what's his name? Bill Murray. Bill Murray's character. He wants to save the homeless man from dying, but that day it was just literally just his time to die, and there's nothing you can do about it. So he goes back in time. He goes to like the temple of or the library of Agamotto or whatever, and I'm like, yo, that's lit. We're seeing more of the kind of history of the mystic arts on Earth and stuff like that. And then he's learning, and then he learns of a dark dimension spell from the Book of Cagliostro, the same one from the Doctor Strange movie, and it's a ritual to absorb the power of other beings. So he just starts, for centuries, he just starts summoning, he starts very small with like lesser kind of like imps or, little demons or little, kind of fodder. And he just absorbs them until he just snowballs that over and over and over until the present. And then like the timeline was split in two. He merges with his present self, and he basically destroys the universe because he wanted to break this absolute point in time. And I'm like, that was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was great.
That was probably the most interesting episode, if you want to or I think it was the episode that was most likely to make it to live action one day, right? In some form, like whether it's an evil Doctor Strange showing up or whatever. But still, it still didn't feel like it had weight. And it's just, I don't know.
No, I feel like it did. Like the whole freaking universe collapsed in on itself.
Yeah,
but I think that was kind of the same deal. I think that was
universe that you've never cared for nor thought about until that episode.
I mean, I can't when he built it up, I kind of cared for it because literally. Go ahead.
It's like the same deal with the What If comic books. That was the kind of the point of them. Is it's just, this is a fun story. Let's tell it over the course of an issue or whatever. Like that. That's
Yeah.
why I think it probably feels that way for a lot of people, because that's kind of how the comics were anyway, which is not a bad thing. It's just kind of, I know a lot of people are looking for something a little bit more, especially after, a lot of people really enjoyed the Marvel Studios live action stuff that they've done for Disney Plus. I know that they've been looking for something to kind of sort of be near that bar.
So I've really enjoyed What If, so I guess I'm in the minority on it. And to me, this is probably a hot take. This is my favorite thing from Phase 4 so far. Other than Shang-Chi, I just saw Shang-Chi and I really enjoyed that.
It's Shang-Chi all the way. What If is bottom?
I don't agree, man. I really been enjoying that. Like so far with all the other shows, with WandaVision, Falcon Winter Soldier, Loki. WandaVision I thought had a really strong first half, and then the second half really disappointed me. And then Falcon and Winter Soldier I thought had a really weak first half, and then the second half, like, oh, I really enjoyed it. And then Loki was just kind of like a mid ground for me. I know really important stuff happened with the multiverse and stuff like that, but as far as the story and the character development, I just thought it was, I wasn't as compelling as I wanted it to be. With What If, I know it's like dealing with scenarios that aren't really impactful when it comes to the MCU because it's different timelines. So should we even be invested in that? But for me, I thought it was really interesting that they took certain events in the MCU that we saw from the live action movies and just twisted it. I just found that really interesting. Now, is it the most deep and most complex? Is it as dark as I wanted to? No, not necessarily, but I've got something out of each episode. I like the Captain Carter stuff. I thought it was like a fun Rocketeer type of homage type of episode.
Yeah.
I thought it was fun seeing Captain Carter getting the soldier serum and Steve Rogers getting Iron Man armor. That was really cool. Black Panther becoming Star-Lord. At first I thought was a weird idea, but the way it was executed in the episode, just seeing how much Black Panther's influence impacts, people and, the ramifications of the MCU. I thought that was really inspirational there. Even the Hank Pym killing the Avengers, I didn't even see that coming at all because I had no idea what was going on. How are these Avengers getting axed off one by one? I never thought Hank Pym turning into Yellow Jacket. That was crazy. I will say the zombie episode was kind of weird. That was the one part I was like, that was kind of off. But I still thought it was entertaining. Some of the character moments with the Avengers I thought was really good. And Doctor Strange one, I think undisputedly that's the best episode so far. Like, I didn't think they would go in that direction because we're so used to, the heroes, saving a day or something, or it'll be good by the time we get to the end of the episode. But they were like, they had the balls to be like, no, not everything's going to be okay. He did this. He has to deal with the consequences. And I really respected them for going in that direction. But so yeah, for me, it's like, this has been keeping my attention more than all the other shows. And these aren't even canon, just seeing how unpredictable it could get. I thought it was cool.
I would have to say that, the only, I guess the best way to kind of sum up my criticism would be that they always bite off more than they can chew, and then they stop the episode, the story, and presumably because it's What If, they're not going to go back to it, at the worst point, Marvel Zombies. They didn't even find a solution.
Yeah.
And they didn't find, there was no like, if it's anthology, if it's one episode, one story, then there needs to be start, middle, end. You know what I mean? And they had the twist. They had the the Mind Stone repels zombies because I don't know, frequency or something like that with their brains. So like we got that, but then it's like, okay, well now we have to go somewhere we could work with this. Okay.
So it's like
end of the episode piece. That's like, what?
So it's like the Philip J. Fry effect.
Yeah. So
it's the Philip J. Fry effect.
The Philip J. Fry effect.
Well, yeah. Fry's brain frequencies are so dumb. The space brains can't interact with his brainwaves at all. That's what it's like that, but in reverse.
Yeah. So I was thinking, like, since they were doing those cliffhangers, because they did that with the Captain Carter episode and
Well, that's like a
the
logical.
other episodes.
I feel like that's a logical point to stop because that's the ending of the first Avenger.
Yeah, though
Yeah.
it was leaving it off to be like, oh, we could pick up from there and see how the timelines change from there. I was thinking that in future episodes of What If, they're going to pick up and be like, oh, part 2 of whatever. I thought that's why they were doing that. Maybe, I don't, how many episodes are in this, in What If? How many are supposed to be?
Is it 8 or 9?
I'm not sure, because
I
like,
think it's less than 10. I don't think it. I'm pretty sure it's not like 13 or 12 or 11.
okay, so I'm thinking like
Yeah.
if they do a season 2,
I-
maybe they'll pick up on some of those like cliffhangers if that's what they're planning, because that's what
That
I
would make
figured. Like,
sense.
oh, I don't know.
I feel like that'd be that like you're waiting too long for that though. Like if they're gonna do that and like finish part 2 of episodes, then they should have just made episodes in pairs, so that in the middle of in between episode 1 and 2, we have the cliffhanger, we have that turning point, and then episode 2 is the kind of resolution.
6.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think it's 6.
6.
I think.
How many we
Let me
got
look.
so far?
No, there's 9.
There's
Is
9.
it 9?
Yes.
And then
Oh,
We're on
Wikipedia is
6.
wrong.
Yeah,
There's
we
six-
just watched the
There's
6th
6 out right now.
so I saw there's 3 more episodes, and I don't know if they'll pick up on those cliffhangers or not, but we'll have to see. No, there's still the Spider-Man one,
Well,
right? And
They said that Captain Carter is going to be a main focal point of next season. So I mean, greenlit. They're already planning more seasons, and I would assume that zombies is going to is going to be like an ongoing thing. I mean, you got to remember these are anthology stories, right? They don't really have to go anywhere.
right.
But in order to keep people intrigued, some episodes will stop and pick up, at a later date. I don't know. It's not tuning my groove at this point.
Mhm.
But I am open. Like I'm open to it. I would like to. I want it to be good. Do you guys think there's a problem with like the 30-minute thing?
I
Wait,
do
it's
think
way
it's
too
too
short.
I do think it's too short. That's the one criticism I have.
Now, are they 30 minutes including credits or not including
I
credits?
think it's like 33 minutes, including intro credits. Yeah,
Yep.
Yeah.
Well,
it's way too short. If it was like 46 minutes, add that extra 10 or so minutes, they could easily put some nice conclusions into all those episodes.
Yeah, they could make them like little movies, like little animated movies.
Yeah.
But the thing is, but I also said this about Mandalorian, and then we got like 2 seasons of 30-minute episodes. I was thinking maybe they're testing the waters, see if there's an audience for it, and then expand upon it from there. But with Disney Plus, like everything seems to be friggin' 30 minutes long.
I think what they're doing is unless there's some sort of internal an internal sort of not memo but internal stipulation, let's say, that it has to be 30 minutes. I think what they've been doing is kind of, well, if the story dictates that it should be longer, then it can be longer, but otherwise not. I know it's that way for Star Wars. I don't know about the Marvel stuff, because like you have Mando went up to 50 minutes. I think the first episode of Bad Batch was like 60 or 70.
The first one was an hour and 16 minutes.
So that's 76. So yeah, that's pretty good. So like I think it's I would imagine it's something like that.
Yeah. Though with WandaVision, like it started out like 20, 30 minutes, and then with each episode it got longer and longer. And then Falcon and Winter Soldier, I think, was like 45 minutes each episode or so around there. And then Loki, I think, was the same. So I don't know why they cut these. I don't think they need to cut these so short. And if we're talking about if the story dictates how long it could be, plenty of these stories called for it to be longer, in my opinion. So I don't think that's the case.
Well, it also helps the
Agreed.
fact that one thing that they mention is the reason why this season is 9 episodes is because of everything that's been going on. That's why they actually moved the 10th episode of what was supposed to be, or I should say what was supposed to be the 10th episode of this season to season 2, and season 2 is also getting reduced to 9 episodes. So I would imagine that probably was kind of the kick in the teeth. Like if things had gone differently, if things had gone kind of more traditionally, like if we weren't sort of going through what we're going through right now, I would assume the episodes would probably be a touch longer. It probably would be able to kind of delay the series as they need to. But I think that's probably the main reason why we kind of are the way we are, at least in part. I won't necessarily entirely.
Right. Yeah.
Mhm.
But moving on from What If, because I still haven't seen the newest episode, so I don't really have much to say on it, I suppose. So Christopher Nolan is leaving Warner Brothers, and he is signing with Universal. What do you guys think about that?
Well, I'm not.
Long time coming, or
I mean,
is it Warner Brothers? Is it Warner Brothers' fault basically? Because they're now, you got to remember, to preface it a little, Warner Brothers kind of, for many years, I mean, it's also one of the oldest studios there is, and they always kind of prided themselves on being the home of the director. And in the recent years, especially this past year, we've seen them kind of not be that.
The day and date HBO Max stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
I felt like this was going to happen. It was a matter of time before he was going to sign with someone else after that day and date stuff, because he was really not happy about that. I didn't expect for him to go to Universal. Honestly, I didn't know what studio was going to pick him up. That was like, luck of the draw for Universal. I knew Netflix was trying to get him too, and I'm like, good luck with that. But I don't know. I mean, I'm okay with it, I guess. It really depends how much freedom Universal gives Nolan. I mean, I know it's Christopher Nolan. You want to give him everything, but it's like, will they let him do as much as he did with Warner Bros. As far as creative control and budget and stuff like that? Are they willing to give him the same type of treatment? I'm not the biggest Nolan fan, I've said before, but it's like, I mean, he is very valuable when it comes to Hollywood, so it's good on Universal that they got him. So
this could be huge for Universal. I mean,
Yeah.
It really could be. This could be exactly what they needed. Is a guy like Christopher Nolan making films there, because Universal is kind of, did you guys see Infinite? It was terrible. It was like
Which
their
one?
acclaimed game.
What?
Which one?
Oh no, or was that Paramount? That was Paramount. Never mind.
Yeah.
Infinite was Paramount.
Right.
That movie was god awful. Jesus
Infinite
Christ.
what? Infinite? I've never
Yeah.
even
With
heard
Mark
of it.
Wahlberg, yeah.
Yeah.
It was terrible. But
I didn't even bother.
It's very well, like, this doesn't bother me the way I think it bothers other people. It's like the way that it kind of felt like it was coming across a lot of sort of, not even access media, but a lot of sort of the kind of the smaller media outlets and things like that. It came across like a guy who was a free agent decided to go sign somewhere else, and to use a sports analogy is what it felt like, and everybody's all like, oh god, oh no, like Warner Brothers lost him, he's gone to Universal. It's like, he's not gone to a different team. It's not like, oh, I can't root for this guy anymore. I don't have that allegiance to a studio the way that I would a sports team. So it doesn't really bother me that much.
Well, he's been making movies for Warner Brothers
Yeah.
for 2 decades.
Tom Brady was playing for the Patriots for 2 decades. So this doesn't, I felt actual heartbreak there. This does not bother me.
No?
So it doesn't really, I
it
understand
don't bother
Warner's,
me either.
I understand Warner's concern about losing a director like that, but like, as far as the industry, how does it really affect like a lot of the studios? I mean, Nolan, I think, is Nolan. Like, he'll just kind of be like, I think it's going to get to the point where he's kind of like Scorsese, or to a lesser extent Spielberg, where it's just going to be whoever's gonna give me the money to make my big crazy thing, I will go there.
Except for his streaming service. I don't think he's going to go to any streaming service.
Well, no, that is
No.
the exception.
I don't know why Netflix even tried. I'm like,
You know what, though? In the world that we live in, I was honestly kind of expecting Nolan to go to Netflix. And that would be a different, that would be a change.
That would have genuinely been.
change,
That would have been a genuine FU to Warner's, because he said he didn't want to do streaming. And then to say he's doing Netflix, to me, would say that's more of an FU to what was going on at HBO Max than it was a sort of a general opposition to streaming. So his decision to go to Universal for his next project, which at least in premise is genuinely interesting to me, assuming that he follows it historically to an historical accuracy, in a way that we got like Dunkirk or something like that. I know we'll not go too far into that DL, don't worry. But like the point is, as far as historical accuracy, if he follows it kind of to the T as to what the rumored project is, I'm very excited, because it's a genuinely interesting, and I have a kind of morbid curiosity for that. So
yeah, yeah. I mean, I just it is what it is. I thought he was going to go back to Warner Brothers, honestly, originally, but I guess it doesn't make too much of a difference. It really makes a difference in terms of Universal. Like Universal, Universal now has, okay, now we make Christopher Nolan movies, like that now they can say that. That's cool. And it can bring other directors in, right? If a guy like that will sign there to do exclusive, make movies exclusively there, it'll bring in some fresh talent, and other people will look that way.
How long was his contract? Is it just for his new project, or is it some sort of long-term deal?
I haven't looked at the actual thing. I don't think anyone has seen it yet. I don't know. Yeah. But I think it would be long-term, like multiple movies.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sure when you're trying to get Nolan, I'm sure you want him to do more than one film. So.
Or it could work on the back end too, where Nolan will say, "No, I'll do one to see how it is."
It could be that.
See what you do for me, Am I going to be, restrained in any way? Yada yada. So. All right, 1 second. I'm going to bring William in. I have to touch my hand. It's terrible. My life is.
I just saw your link. I would have been here sooner. Sorry.
Huh?
I just saw the link that you tagged me in, or else I would have been here sooner.
That's okay. How you doing, man?
I'm doing all right. On a lunch break. Hey, on the Nolan thing, in case my battery shuts down, I do not think it's anything beyond this movie with Universal. He's probably going to leave the door open, because it's the guy who bought him into WB might come into power here pretty soon. A lot of the people that he had issues with will not be there, in my opinion. And Rubinoff, the guy who should have been running Warner Brothers instead of Kevin Ichiara, could possibly get tapped to take that position. And if so, what Zaslav said about rebuilding relationships with a lot of people, that might be one of the first steps. So I see this movie is probably a one-off. That's just my guess.
Who else other than Snyder and Nolan, when it came to burning of bridges, who else did they wind up affecting?
Well, we got to wait and see what Denis Villeneuve will do after Dune. So,
just let him make. Please, for the love of God, let him make part 2. Because I don't care if he makes the third. I don't care if he makes the third one. I don't care, because that's the next book. Part 2 is the second half of the book. Because if I get both of those, then at least we get the whole thing on screen. The first one.
I think you'll see it simply because why it was halted the first time was because they didn't know how it was going to do. It's a really complex IP to market, and $175-100 million. You have the old school guys thinking, box office results. But now that we're headed toward, streaming leverage, it may matter as much how many people watch it on HBO Max as far as its success goes and anything else. So I think you'll get a 2, because I think a lot of people will watch it on HBO Max. I don't think a lot of people would pay to see it outside of me, because I like all that guy's movies. But it's not like Harry Potter. It's not like Star Wars. It's not like Lord of the Rings, where you have a generational IP that you're handing down from your grandkids. Dune is really high end. So I can understand why old box office would not want to proceed with the 2. But now that, it's going to end up on streaming, a lot more people are going to see it on streaming than would have seen it in the movie theaters, because they wouldn't have given a chance for that kind of money. So I think you will get a 2 if a lot of people watch it on Max.
I think
I'm
going
to see it.
I think they're already, because you wouldn't put, so that there's that exclusive trailer. It was like a 5-minute thing that people got to see. They put part 1 at the end, right? Mm-hmm. I wouldn't do that if I wasn't 100% on making a second one.
Yeah.
Now, Whether he's coming back or not is a different story.
Yeah. But you also got to realize that's not a decision for the current management to make. You're spending someone else's money at this point, because by the time a Dune 2 would go into production, the merger's done. So really, you're talking with Discovery's money now instead of Warner Brother Properties cash. So that's probably a decision that they're probably going to leave, along with a lot of decisions. Like I said, I'm telling people, I know that they're greenlighting all this stuff and hearing all these announcements, and I really don't think a lot of that stuff is going to be fast tracked until permanent personnel is put in place. So, and like I said on not Vodka stream, but Dave's Patreon stream the other night, he's like, they disagreed with me. They said, no, this stuff's going to happen. And I'm like, yeah, okay, they can announce all they want to. And in my opinion, do you want the current regime working on these projects, or would you rather have a much more stable, permanent regime working on them? No matter what it is, Batgirl, Penguin, any of these things, they can announce them all they want to, but who do you want working on these things going forward? Warner Discovery or the Warner Brothers we've had since 2013?
Warner Discovery.
Warner Discovery. Yeah.
I don't even know what they're gonna do. Like, I don't even know what Warner and Discovery. I don't even know what entity they will become. But I already have more faith in them than the current. So,
William, you'll get this joke because I know you're a sports fan as well. It's kind of like dealing with Gase versus dealing with Robert Saleh. It's kind of like, I know it's the devil I don't know, but it's like it can't be worse than what we've had.
Yeah, it's like Rich Kotite. It's like when Rich Kotite went 1-15. They could have pulled the hot dog guy out of the Meadowlands, and you're automatically probably going to win another game more. So yeah. So I say everybody should hold off. And to be honest with you, if I'm one of these guys that's ahead of these projects, like a director of these projects, I come up with it every delay I possibly can. I'm like, you know what? Oh, we're doing pre-production somewhere else. So I twisted my ankle. I do anything you can to delay your project to the point where it is being moved into the Zaslav era and out of these other eras, because I just want it to be done right. And I want to actually believe in it, and have something to talk about other than this, other than how bad are they going to screw it up, or who's going to leave, or if you're going to get a part 2 of something. Those aren't good discussions to be having, to be honest with you. That hurts the band.
Don't you think they would have saved money if they shot them back to back? I kept thinking that,
You'd think. But apparently not. And apparently, I don't know what the reasoning was behind not wanting to shoot it back to back, unless that was a quote unquote money savings gesture or like notion, but I don't get it.
Honestly, I think it's from what William was saying, is that Dune doesn't have that huge following that a Harry Potter or Lord of the Rings.
Oh God, no. And I'm just cracking into Dune for the first time myself. And it's very tough to market, I think, because of the fact, again, like not only that there's no recognition, but it's kind of like the closest you can do is one of the movies it directly inspired, but even then, tonally and conceptually, it's so different from A New Hope. Like, you just trying to say, hey, you like Star Wars, you'll like this, is like, no. I think if you were to kind of, I guess, distill it, would be if you like the high concepts of Blade Runner, but you like the kind of out of this world nature of Star Wars. If you like both of those, you'll love Dune. Like, that's if I were to boil it down.
I'm sorry.
No. I was just finishing my thought. Go ahead.
Yeah. Another thing I think really hurt it is something we brought up before, which was the $1 billion standard, which I think is pretty much screwed every movie. But if they were thinking at the time, well, we know, because I can tell you right now, in the best circumstances, that Dune wasn't going to make anywhere near $1 billion, even if it does well. It's just not that kind of IP. If they were entrenched at the time of this decision making, where they were like, well, if it doesn't make $1 billion, how do I impress my investors with the money we spent back? And so they might have, even if you tried to make it a cheaper movie by filming it back to back, it's still a third more than you would be for a single movie. And they decided that their return on it wasn't going to be that good. But like I said, everything is shifted when you're looking at, people, how many people on HBO Max, and if that is your goal. And it even said that the decision to greenlight a 2 would be partially dependent on HBO Max and those numbers there. And as it should be, honest with you. That's the way things should be going forward.
I'm so confused by the most recent comment. I'm like, where did in the chat did that come from? Because it doesn't look like there was anything relating to it.
Wait, who? What do you mean?
No, like about Lightsaber 328, The Man. We already got the Thrawn trilogy. It's on YouTube. We need George Lucas sequel trilogy. Like, what the?
I guess they started a Star Wars
Hey!
conversation.
I'm scrolling, and I can't find it.
Yeah,
But yes, I'll
So
but yes, I'm going to give you just
I
a quick
have-
shout out because I was going to say just
Go
give a
ahead.
quick shout out to Nick Carr, $5 super chat just to help you fix your computer.
thank you. Yeah, I can't bring anything up, guys.
Yeah, and that's what he
Oh.
said. That's what he said. He knows you can't bring up your super chats right now, but he does give his love.
Thank you. I appreciate it, guys. But I've been watching.
If you get a super chat or
Star-
anything, if you get a super chat or anything like that, I'll give you a quick heads up and.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Usually we'll have Caden behind the scenes, but
Yeah.
he's at a birthday or something like that. So I'm it's like today's just been a train wreck for me.
I feel so bad. I'm just like, oh god, it's just like boom, boom, boom.
Dude, that's an expensive machine. And I'm today was supposed to be a celebration of, because we started the show, Justice and I started the show 1 year ago, 2 days ago. We did our first episode. So this week we're doing like a celebration. And on my Mac, I have my editing softwares, my audio softwares, and I made these cool montage videos of like where we started versus where we are.
Yep.
All of it's gone. And, like I can't get it because it's on the computer. Yeah. It's
You got to
just,
do a drive recovery. It's still there. You just got to.
yeah, I just have to get something's wrong.
Hopefully.
Like, yeah, I have confidence, but I'm taking steps to ensure just in case. But yeah, so any support that we can get, it's just been one of those weeks,
Yeah.
One of those years. But hey, every day above ground, man, it thinks
Yes, sir.
work. Every
Yes,
time I
sir.
have one of those days, I'm like, all I got to do is turn on the news, and then I'm like, wow, that guy didn't even make it to 30, and I'm like, okay, I'll stop. So it's just, especially the last 18 months, it's like, wow, dude. I mean, like I said, I'm just happy to be talking geek stuff because the other conversations could be so much worse. But
Oh yeah.
there you go.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's go ahead.
So I've been watching a new upcoming Disney Plus show. I can't say what it is for another couple days, but it might take place in a galaxy far away. And
Hey, I'm tired of you having connections, man. I
I'm
feel
glad
so
you do.
Is
Don't
it-
do this to
I wanted
Is it Vision?
I said the exact same.
it's
did the
much.
exact-
Honestly, I don't even care about the IP. Like I'm a Star Wars person in the general sense, where I'm a
and that's okay.
general fan, right?
Mhm.
And the series that I'm watching right now is like we were talking about What If earlier. This
Mhm.
blows it out of the water.
I
Blows,
I
like, Star
cannot
Wars
wait.
knows.
I cannot wait. It's a week from today. I am so excited.
Star Wars Visions?
Hey,
I
guys, I got a
don't know
bolt.
what that is, but I'll tell you guys in 3 days what it is.
I got
uh,
a bolt, but Ty, when are you coming to Vegas?
Uh,
Will it be October 18th by any chance?
it depends.
Okay,
It
because
depends.
or there's a certain premiere I'd like to be there for if you're available. I would invite Austin, but I know he's just going to stand me up. No, I'm just kidding.
What? All right, well, talk to me after.
Yeah, I will. I'll message you.
All right. All right, but yeah, so okay, the Hawkeye trailer came out. I
Yes.
haven't talked about it yet at all with anybody.
Okay.
And someone is telling me that Vincent D'Onofrio is definitely in it. So
D'Onofrio, you get what's
D'Onofrio.
this?
yeah, D'Onofrio, whatever the guy.
Say
Goddamn.
it wrong. He has a
What is your major malfunction?
So Kingpin. is
But
most
yeah,
likely.
so someone who I work for confirms with a source at Marvel that he is in fact going to be in the show. Whether he's the main villain or not, I don't know. But what did you guys get? What kind of vibes are you getting from that trailer?
The Christmas special I never wanted.
everybody says Die Hard, but I'm like, Jeremy Renner and Hawkeye Like I'm not getting die hard vibes.
I was getting Die Hard vibes. I think it's a combination of the fact that it's an urban setting at Christmas time. You got a dude who kind of like I could definitely have seen Jeremy Renner sort of a John McClane thing. Like it's a guy who wants to be there with his family for Christmas, but his entire sort of life is getting in the way. And then there's this other circumstance which may even be further beyond his control that he needs to do something about now before he can even deal with his family, And they may, who knows, you might have, a twist like, probably most likely not, but like a twist like Die Hard where, oh my gosh, Hans Gruber is able to get his hands on John's wife. You might have, maybe the villain might be getting, be able to kidnap Clint's kids or something like that.
Okay, so I don't want to be negative, Nancy. It was hard for me to pay attention to any of those details you guys are talking about without having it's the most wonderful time of the year.
I love
holiday
it so
special.
much.
Yeah. I hated it. Like,
well,
oh my
I'm
God,
a guy
it was
who
obnoxious.
I'm a guy who also loves Batman Returns. So it doesn't. So this doesn't bother.
I question your sanity, my friend.
So that's okay. I love Batman Returns. I love Arkham Origins. So
I like
the
Arkham
idea,
Origins.
The idea of setting a story like this at Christmas time doesn't bother me the way I think it does bother some other people.
Yeah, it just seemed the trailer just seemed so silly to me. I thought we were going to be a little more serious because it's after the Ronin stuff and Endgame and it's with his family. Well, not that long because he's going off to being Hawkeye again. Man, he's such a bad dad, isn't he? But just like, and then Haley Steinfeld's in there. Like, I love Haley Steinfeld, but I'm just like, the show may end up being really good. So don't get me wrong, I'm not judging the show on itself, but it's just like the trailer, it just turned me off. I'm just like, what is this?
And just a quick heads up there, Adam Silvestri with the $5 super chat, to help Ty is the message.
Oh, you guys are amazing. Yeah. So like I was saying, to Adam and Nick, thank you both. Anything helps for fixing Mac. I don't know if you guys know how expensive they are. My God, it's so stupid.
Yeah, screw it.
And then the fact that they couldn't get me in until Tuesday pisses me off.
I can't. I can't sell organs, but I would imagine I can't sell organs up here, but I imagine you probably need to in order to get yourself a Mac. Because I don't think I've ever owned an Apple product outside of an iPod. Like my PC. I have a PC. Dude, my phones are all
Macs
Android.
And iPhones. I have actually Madeline. I still have her iPad. Thank you, Madeline. But the Mac Mini, I went with that because you can use you don't have to use Apple screens or anything. You can use like HP screens, and it's very versatile in its nature. It just makes any screen a Mac basically. And they're very convenient. And yeah, I don't really know what's wrong with it. It just keeps flashing like a folder with a question mark. And then I do like the recovery thing.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't it won't allow me to do anything from there either. So I gotta get it looked at.
I wish it was a PC because I'm like, because I know family who actually work with PCs and do IT with PCs quite regularly. I do wish it was, because then I could actually help out. I could actually do something,
Right. It's okay. I mean, it's okay. We made some good money last month, so I'm starting work again. It's just like, how when you start work, they hold back a check. So I'm in that
sort of.
Right now.
Well, sort of, but at least the retail job I was working, what they would do was on the payday, even if it was hold back a couple of days, they'd pay you like a partial. Like you'd get if you start in the middle of the week and it's like the pay week, you'll get it the following Monday. It would be like the 4 days that you worked, but then your next paycheck is whatever your actual paycheck would be.
That's like the not insurance, but it's like once you put in your 2 week notice, and then you actually leave the job, then you're still paid for one more pay period.
Yeah.
Or something like that. Yeah.
Something along those lines. Yeah. I didn't know Hawkeye starts Thanksgiving Day.
No,
Yeah. Wait.
doesn't.
Well,
It's Thanksgiving Day.
it's probably a couple days before Thanksgiving, I think, because
Huh.
I think it is late November.
Well, they're moving it. Well, actually, it couldn't be Thanksgiving because aren't they moving all the Marvel shows to Friday?
I thought it was on Wednesday. No.
Oh no, Wednesday. Yeah, so it would be the day before Thanksgiving then. Well, your
Okay.
Thanksgiving.
So I guess
Yeah.
that's why the holiday thing was there. So I mean, marketing wise, it's brilliant.
Yeah, but the show overall looks, I mean, decent. I think it's going to be a fun show to like watch. It probably fill in a little bit of the gaps, you know, with Clint, and then it's going to start exploring Kate Bishop. And I think Kate Bishop's a character I'm excited to see more of.
Mhm.
I'm interested to see like just to see Rogers the musical. Like
Yeah,
that
Rogers the
looks
musical.
fun. It's basically you'll see it in a couple of scenes in the trailer, a poster for Rogers the musical. That's what that Captain America thing is. It is to Steve Rogers.
Yeah.
It is to Steve Rogers as Hamilton is to Alexander Hamilton. Is basically what it is.
Ty was out of it for like a good 10 seconds. I was wondering why he was looking like that.
Yeah, that's it. It's I can't help it.
I think it's so campy, and it's like
I love it.
I feel like because Kate Bishop is going to be an important supporting role. It's going to be like, you know, witty sidekick. I admire your every move, so I try to imitate you. Blah 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 blah. And it's just gonna. I feel like it's gonna like hinder the show from going all out into whatever realm.
There'll be some sort of mid-season twist, is what I'm thinking.
Well, is she
like
imitating him, or is she?
She was literally wearing the Ronin costume.
Yeah, but did the public know that he was Ronin? Because I remember before Endgame, the only people that knew he was Ronin were the Avengers, and I don't know if they let that secret go.
No, it's like it just says Ronin's back because of the costume.
I'll probably do that too.
So I don't think she's imitating him per se.
No.
I think she took on the mantle, because the Ronin mantle is a mantle, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think I don't know. I could be reaching here.
I don't know. It's just I feel like with her, they're gonna be like, oh, she's the future. She's a young Avenger, and she's like, you know, a kid or you know, young person. We're not gonna want anything bad to happen. So anytime they like, I look at the trailer, like Hawkeye's tied up one time, and with some gangsters around him or something like that. It's gonna be played for laughs. It's gonna be, we gotta get out of this situation. Can you think of? I feel it in my, like it's like those movies where like My Spy with Dave Bautista and like the kid, the little girl that wants to be a spy or something like that.
No.
It's gonna be one. I feel like it's gonna be one of those types of things. Kate Bishop, she's of course the kid that's naturally talented in whatever the mentor person is doing. The mentor person wants to get out of the business. And they're sucked into it, and then the stakes are not even that high, and who cares about the villains?
Is it me, or there's a lot of passing the torch vibes with this phase? Because like we have a new Captain America, they're gonna have a new Black Panther, Ant-Man's daughter's about to be a hero. We have Miss Marvel and Monica, and now we have this. So like
that's just like that's comic books, man.
Oh, yeah. She-Hulk too. She-Hulk coming as well.
And I'd seen the one thing that someone had mentioned was someone had kind of asked the relevance of a show like this, as far as having Kate Bishop in it, particularly not any sort of like moral issue, but just like kind of seeing a bit of general disinterest or something like that. And Jarbo even was like, it's to help set up young Avengers, and I'm like, duh. Yeah. Why did I not think of that? Like,
yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's pretty obvious, but I don't know. I just don't care. I don't care.
I'm actually more invested. I'm more invested in this. I think because it helps that it's relatively standalone. Because I have, outside of Shang-Chi, I have not seen anything in Phase 4, and outside of Civil War, I have seen nothing in Phase 3. So,
wait,
anything
you say you never seen Infinity War or Endgame?
No.
What are you doing, bro?
Well, those are phenomenons, bro. They're like cinematic phenomena.
I know.
What
but
you
the problem
doing,
was, The problem was I kept missing. I missed Ant-Man because I moved, and then I missed Ant-Man. So I'm like, okay, well, I didn't get a chance to watch that, and I kept just kind of like, oh, I'll catch up, and oh, I'll catch up, and life just kind of kept getting in the way.
I don't think. I
So
think
you
might
mean
be
you never
one of,
had,
like
like, a-
7 people on the planet.
Yeah. We got to film your reaction. We got to get your hot takes.
Well,
Because
can you
I got a lot of hot takes about Endgame.
define reactions?
I got some hot takes
define
about
reactions.
a lot of movies.
I'm saying. Well, the reason I say define reaction is because I haven't seen the full breakdown of how time works with regards to Endgame, but
Screw that.
with.
Oh, God.
I'm familiar with the.
Start.
I'm familiar with the snap, the blip, Tony's death, Natasha's death, Professor Hulk.
Well, do you see clips of like the biggest moments within the
Pretty
movies?
much, and then kind of occasionally on 2 cents on nonsense when someone's getting roasted for their stupid Marvel takes or whatever. I'll get little them making fun of that. But like that's it. Like I haven't seen anything. I love I loved Ant-Man. I did finally see Ant-Man, I should say, but like Civil War and Ant-Man were it. And it's not because I dislike them.
I think you're just gonna like your reactions would just be like a little chuckle, like a little joke here or there that nobody cares to record.
Exactly.
It's like Rhodey talking about baby Thanos.
And then on top of that, with regards to Phase 4, I know about all the twists, and because I was so far behind, I'm like I don't particularly care about spoilers. So I'm familiar with all of the twists and turns in WandaVision. I'm familiar with Isaiah Bradley's story in Falcon and the Winter Soldier and the passing of the mantle, which, by the way, I will admit I did see, had someone describe to me the whole the ending of the Isaiah Bradley story, and I'm like, that sounded really sweet, because I always like Isaiah Bradley as a character in the comics was always interesting to me, and having and seeing it kind of play out the way that people had told me about it, I'm like, this is something I need to really see at some point. And then Shang-Chi I saw in the theaters. I loved it. And effectively outside of, I'm not going to go into spoilers for our audience, but outside of the post-credit scene, the mid-credit scene, excuse me, it's almost entirely a standalone movie. Outside of Wong too, but like, because you really don't need to know who Wong is other than, hey, cool, he's magic dude, who and Abomination being the Abomination. Like, you don't really need to know those characters relative to anything else that's happened before it, or doesn't affect this movie too much, rather.
Yeah, I really did like Shang-Chi. Well, yeah, you gotta get on it. We need you need like a dedicated stream just to talk about your thoughts on Phase 3, because you haven't seen so much. I mean, you really should allot some time to watch it at least once.
I know. I want to, because especially with what's the next big MCU movie that's coming out after Shang-Chi?
Eternals.
Eternals, yeah.
That one again, I don't need to, because I'm like, that one's almost like the prequel to everything.
I'm legit only excited because I get to.
It's not a prequel.
No, I'm saying as far as the Eternals were there before all of the stuff happened in the MCU. It explains why they did nothing. And other than that, it's got a broader cosmic story. And I'm actually super hyped for that movie, because I like cosmic Marvel and I love cosmic DC. Yeah. So the Eternals effectively was kind of, I think the best way to describe it for people is, it's like, if you like the New Gods comics, you'll like this movie, because
it's from the same person.
Yeah. Exactly. It was like, literally, Kirby kind of wanted to do them in 3 phases. New Gods just wasn't selling super well over at DC, so he wound up kind of going back to Marvel doing the Eternals, or it might have been a contractual issue. I know that it was a really weird thing they had, because Kirby, on a side note, Kirby actually drew a couple of issues of Action and a couple of issues of Superman, but they actually they didn't, because Kirby draws superheroes the way Kirby draws superheroes. They didn't like the way that they did his face, that he did Superman's face. So they actually had Kurt Swan go and redo the faces. It's very strange. It was really interesting. Like, if you look up Jack Kirby Superman before and after, you'll see what it would look like from Kirby, and then what Kurt Swan's face, drawn instead of it. It's really interesting. And it's no disrespect to Kurt Swan. Although you want to talk about disrespecting Kurt Swan, DC definitely did that. But that's a whole other discussion.
They didn't like that Superman didn't have eyeballs.
Oh no, because that was how Kurt Swan drew him. It was like the 60s. So this was before they drew the kind of the oh my god, the whites of the eyes and the iris and so forth. So the reason, but the whole Kurt Swan thing is just
Honestly, the only thing I like about Eternals is Icarus, because we're finally getting some more awesome visceral action. Even though I think it's gonna be all right. It's gonna have some of those Marvel movie effects. I hope they didn't rush it. They had plenty of time with the delays and stuff like that. But it looks
with regards to the CG, it to me looks even better than Shang-Chi, and Shang-Chi's looked really good.
Yeah. So I'm really hopeful with that. But when it comes to the story and actually some of the characters, I don't know, Ajax, Salma Hayek, Angelina Jolie, she's a little quiet. She barely had any lines.
I think we need to see the movie, and that's the problem. Is I think they're being so secretive with regards to aspects of the story that they just kind of wind up kind of slicing out too much almost.
Honestly, for me, it's literally just scale. I call me a greedy fan that just wants to consume or whatever, but I want scale in these fantasy movies and these superhero.
Well, define scale. I mean, you've got literally the Celestials are in the trailer, and the Celestials.
That's why I like it. But when it comes to everything else, I'm not getting that.
It feels like a big budget indie film.
To be honest,
I just don't think
the hot take,
characters.
Yeah. I'm not really worried about that because I don't know the characters myself, so her interpretation will be my interpretation for the time being. You know what I mean? So
I'm picking up
if I like him, I like him.
Yeah.
But anyway, what I was trying to say about scale was that it's just way too close, not close-minded, but I feel like they're not thinking big enough when it comes to some of these movies that we've been seeing recently.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, I mean, it's they've done this for 10 plus years, and it still feels like they're playing it safe to certain aspecks. I'm like, come on.
I'm in a public space in my dorm, but I'll just try to say this as quick as I can. But here's my thing: Zack Snyder's Justice League. Even though this is a very exceptional case because technically the movie wasn't finished in one fell swoop and it was kind of divided up. A lot, and then re-put together back at the end, and then shown to us, in this year. I would have expected Zack Snyder's Justice League, which is 4 hours long, to be Man of Steel, Superman versus Zod times a million. You know what I mean?
Right.
Or Batman warehouse scene times 10. You know what I mean? I did not get that. Literally, they're the whole league, including Resurrected Superman, is fighting Steppenwolf in just a nuclear silo, and they're just punch, few shockwaves, no destruction. I'm like my guy. They leveled the city in the first movie. My guy should literally be destroying a planet by now.
Well, you kind of sort of got that in the third act, but
the mother box explosion. That's nothing. They were no. I mean, in a knockdown drag out fight. You know what I mean? Call me the anime. That's the anime nerd in me. But
as somebody who loves giant kaiju monster movies, how many times can you destroy the city before you get desensitized? So it's you can't just destroy the city every movie.
I'm not even sensitized. I never got it. Man of Steel. And the end of that movie was the only time. It was legit the only time. Look at any other movie. Look at Avengers, Endgame, and Infinity War. It's in a battlefield. Nothing happens. Building gets destroyed. Wall gets destroyed. That's it.
Okay. Well, we don't need.
Oh my God! Dude, Superman is resurrected. The world is at stake. It's going to be taken over. The anti-life equation and the whole entire multiverse is going to be doomed after Darkseid freaking finds it and the Unity is completed. Superman
we
should learn his lesson from Doomsday. He is even more powerful than BVS. After he's resurrected, he's fodderizing everyone. He just freaking cuts the horn of Steppenwolf in half. He should be wanting to be like, okay, this is my planet. I kind of learning from my fight with Zod, my fight with Doomsday. Maybe I should take him into space and take him into Mars. Sorry, Elon Musk, but Mars is going to get destroyed because this guy, he defeated Aquaman. He defeated Wonder Woman. He defeated everybody, but he's not going to defeat me. So I'm going to literally destroy this planet by ramming him into the core of Mars and stuff. Elon Musk, you're probably going to have to find another, planet to settle on, but that's calm.
Okay, you watching too much Dragon Ball Super. First of all,
yes, that's what I want. That's the scale.
Look, just because shit doesn't blow up every 2 seconds doesn't mean you don't feel the stakes.
Bro,
the world got incinerated.
Bro,
the Flash had to reverse time to prevent that from
part 2
happening.
and 3.
The world got incinerated.
We were supposed to get a part 2 and a part 3 where Dark
and
Side
then there's still the
I
alternate
swear, bro, dude, just the punches, man. Yo, I swear. Dude, Superman's throwing punches from like Weenie Juniors, my guy. Superman is throwing the baby punches. What happened to what I was seeing in Man of Steel and BVS? Come on, man.
I didn't need that. This is.
Well, it also helps. He's fighting a fellow
Man of Steel.
Kryptonian. He's fighting a Kryptonian.
He's fighting an apocalyptic. He's fighting someone even bigger and better.
That's why there's not as. I'm saying that's why there's not as much recoil and stuff like that in the fight. You're fighting a Kryptonian versus a god. It makes perfect sense to me, at least, why it doesn't feel the same way, or it's a much more even fight. They didn't even destroy the nuclear
silo. They didn't even destroy the nuclear silo.
You don't need to destroy the fucking nuclear silo, man.
Yeah.
He was smacking around the other League members at the Heroes Park. And he was smacking around Steppenwolf as well.
So he should smack him to another planet.
Plus, it's also one of the other things I think that I thought of is as far as why there's not as much sort of wanton destruction at the hands of Superman, is the fact that this is a guy who has learned from Man of Steel. We saw in BVS what this guy did to a city that he was trying to protect. If he's gonna, why would he want to possibly level a city again? If he can keep the fight contained to where it can be, there's an open boom tube where he can send this dude back through, or his severed head in this case, So,
but they didn't know that until the Unity was completed. The boom tube only opened when the Unity was completed. He learned from Man of Steel. He learned in BVS. Doomsday is a threat. He's also part Kryptonian. Let me take him into space. That didn't work out for him, but now he's bigger and better after he was resurrected, and he's literally manhandling Steppenwolf. He should be like, literally, this guy even stepping on my planet. This is my planet, my guy. You do not belong here. The fact that you're stepping on my planet means you're a threat to all of humanity. You're gone.
I mean, it's also.
And I just want to say this.
He's fighting with the League. You know what I mean?
I'm sorry, visual effects artists. I love your work and stuff like that. Please don't stop making movies. Don't listen to me. I'm just one guy, and if I make your job harder in the future, I'm so sorry.
Don't listen to these people that.
What do you mean, as far as scope and stuff?
I
don't know. I thought you were going to take some sort of crack at the quality of the visual effects. Yeah, you're fine. What you said has less to do with you. It has more to do with the creatives and the studio. It has less to do with the visual effects artists. You didn't insult them. You're all good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least except for that one shot of Superman where he laser Steppenwolf and then Steppenwolf dodges and the laser goes out of a nuclear silo. His hair was different in that shot than any other shot. That was a little weird.
That was probably one little pickup shot that they did. Not in 2020, but like I'm saying, a pickup shot. Or like something along those lines, maybe the next day, or maybe it was the first thing they filmed.
I noticed the hair like instantly. The smile was weird, and like the hair was.
It was just it was sort of a continuity issue more than anything else.
Yeah.
But other than that, rant's over. That's the anime in me. I want anime in live action. That's why when I saw What If and I saw like literally the universe collapsing in on itself, and then Doctor Strange being so powerful because he absorbed that many people to hold back the literal universe from collapsing in on itself, I was like, oh my god, thank you. Now let me get that in live action, please.
Well, look,
I kind of want to.
You have to understand. we're not ready.
Also,
for anime.
Superman can be Goku. There we go.
Thank you. I agree with that. But you have to understand. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, as far as the Superman beating Goku thing, the reason why I agree with that statement is I had asked this question on another stream. Because if you answer this question, depending on how you answer it, you can determine the direction of the fight. Are ki blasts, the respective energy blasts that Goku fires, are they energy or are they magic?
And I hate to admit that Superman is weak to magic. He's not weak to magic. Magic affects him like magic affects anybody else. If a magic attack,
that's
like
why
a fireball,
I'm
yeah, because
he is largely weak to magic.
No, he's not weak. He's like I looked at this a few times, and I'm pretty sure he's not weak to magic. It's that the magic affects him like it affects any other living being. So if a magic ball from a freaking novice sorcerer was strong enough to punch a hole into a normal human's chest, it's not going to do anything to Superman. And just because it doesn't get a 10 times multiplier in damage just because it's hitting Superman and not someone else. You know what I mean? Like, if it burns a hole through a regular person's chest, it's not gonna burn a hole through Superman's chest. It's gonna just dissolve on him. Like he's in a tank and he's fine.
He's not like weak to
but of course if he's fighting like
on him.
if he's fighting Dr. Fate or something, Dr. Fate has like feats, he's beaten like he's
a Lord of Order. I mean, he's like one of the most powerful magic beings in the DC universe.
In the freaking so like that's something different. We're talking about a person, a magical entity of a certain scale. If we're talking about like a novice level sorcerer shooting a little fireball, like it's not gonna do anything to Superman. Come on.
Like this is why we're not ready for anime adaptations. No, not yet.
We're ready.
Not ready.
We're not ready.
You're giving the casual moviegoers too much credit. Like I'm telling you, anime is not as over as you guys think it is.
I wonder why though. Out of all the things that they're remaking and like doing in live action, I wonder why like Dragon Ball is not one of them.
See, I
considering its popularity.
Right. Because they crashed and burned a decade ago with Dragon Ball Evolution. The problem was a studio in the West has never given enough time and money, especially for something like you can get away with Dragon Ball. The problem was they tried to make Dragon Ball Evolution too much like Dragon Ball Z. If you went with Dragon Ball, you could probably get away with it. It's a kid with a monkey tail who shoots energy blasts, fighting, a couple of, fighting a robot army. You can get away with that for now. But you really need to, and you also need to build up. Like, take into consideration, even though we have a separation in the West of Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, and also in a separation in the anime, thanks to the anime, that was why we have that separation. The manga is all called Dragon Ball from the time we're introduced to Goku till the end of the Majin Buu saga and the epilogue. It's all called Dragon Ball. So it's effectively a 25-year, or a 15-year story that was being told. So, or 10 years or whatever, it was a long-term story. So you have that investment every week because this wasn't, it was being published in weekly Japanese manga anthology magazines. You have the entire collection of, like different volumes of manga as we see them now. So I think that's why Dragon Ball, for example, has a tougher thing, has a tougher time. There are certain I think you could probably get away with smaller things. I think that's why Bebop might have a possibility of succeeding. But it's kind of also determining genre, because when we think anime, it's, not unlike comic books, anime is a medium and not a genre, right?
True,
anime can include crazy shonen like Dragon Ball and, Hiroaka, but it can also include stuff like Fruits Basket and Haruhi. There's so much stuff in between that you can do, because it's like any other medium. You have science fiction, you have superhero stories, you have slice of life stuff. In the case of manga, it's kind of like what we would understand as like in the West is like drama film, a la stuff like Manchester by the Sea and things like that. That would be that's why you have that kind of broader separation, and why I think anime adaptations can work It's just you need to build brand recognition. You need to kind of build to that scale and scope. You have to deal with the fact that the Marvel Cinematic Universe has succeeded. You have to find a studio that's going to give you the money if you want to go with the crazy shonen action stuff. If you just want to make like an adaptation of, like Your Name, like Abrams was trying to do, yes, that's a very interesting comparison.
You do sound like, well, I'm Zack Snyder and you're Ray Fisher.
Sort of. Oh, by the way, I watched Jiving with Jack the other day. Jack pulled up a picture of the kid from Halloween that he said you looked like.
Yeah, no, I'm the one who told him that.
Yeah, no, and he said that. He said that you told him that. I thought he kind of looked like young Ben Affleck too, like Ben Affleck as a kid.
Okay. Yeah.
A little bit. Like it could have just been this.
When I was in the movie theater with Justice, and Justice looked at me and was like, "Bro, you're on the movie. You're in the movie." And I was like, "Yeah, he kind of does look like me when I was younger."
Yeah, well, I've been told I look like a particular actor, and I'll discuss that in the back room once we get there. But what was funny was, to bring it back to anime real quick, is that's why I think you can have successful anime adaptations. It's just and successful manga adaptations. It's just, what are you adapting, right? Like if you adapt Your Name, again, there's science fiction stuff in there, but it's relatively small. It's
What was that one that they did adapt on Netflix and like
Death Note.
Death Note. I actually like that movie, but I don't know what the source material is.
Was it the American version or the Japanese version?
No idea.
Were they speaking English?
English, yes.
Yeah, that was the American one. That guy wound up one of the showrunners of that was Adam Wingard, who wound up directing Godzilla vs. Kong.
Yeah.
And he's also going to be doing a Thundercats movie. So that'll be interesting. But I'm interested to see what they do with, or what someone does do with anime adaptations and manga adaptations in the future. It's just I think it's kind of, sometimes it's a bit of a tough sell, because you're not even a language barrier, but even though we're now starting to get a larger cultural sort of, to use a video game term, install base, you kind of have to. We've had Superman around for 50 we're at that point 40 years before we got the first movie, like the real theatrical movie. It was 40 years before we got that. It was about a year and a half after Batman came out that we got the first film serial. And if you want to go 30, almost 30 years to the show, almost 50 years to the movie. So there's a deep cultural resonance, at least for superheroes. Again, for comic books, if you want to go more broadly into comic books, there have been other adaptations, stuff like From Hell, V for Vendetta, A History of Violence, for example.
Yeah.
You have dramas like that, and then there's
Sweet
also
Tooth, like even with the newest one, Sweet Tooth.
Sweet Tooth. Shout out to my fellow Canuck, Jeff Lemire. Much love. But yeah, I really need to. I want to read the comic for that as well, because I have a lot of love for Jeff Lemire. And if you want to talk about a comic adaptation, I would love to see them do. There was a comic miniseries that Jeff Lemire did for Vertigo that I love called Trillium, which it's funny in its own route. No, it's fun. The name is funny, but I'll talk about that later. It's basically a story about an explorer, like a colonial explorer in the 19th century, or it might even be the early 20th century, and a scientist, and I believe it's the 25th century. And due to some way that they're able to access each other's time periods, they meet and they fall in love. And basically their love story is unraveling the fabric of time itself. And so it's like kind of like trying to beat that or trying to deal with that. It's a really interesting story. It's available through Vertigo. I do hope they keep reprinting it under like some sort of DC banner, or reprint it under Black Label or whatever it is that they want to do. I think that would be another interesting kind of sci-fi deal direction you want to go with it. But I think as far to kind of bring it all the way back to like shonen anime adaptations, like I said, I think mainly it's budget. It's budget and trust to be able to give them an adaptation that's close to the source material, or it's either that or it's something there's something substantive to it that's not just full on sequel bait. Like you can just like that I can watch this thing and enjoy it, which is again like that's one thing I liked about Dragon Ball. If you wanted to get like Dragon Ball, the actual beginning of the manga, is you have smaller arcs that have much smaller stakes, and they built them over 10-15 years. At the start, like I said, it's a kid with a monkey tail, and a couple of his friends that he meets along the way, and a talking cat, fighting, fellow humans with with robots, and then like the second arc is the first World Martial Arts tournament that the audience is introduced to. I forget which edition of the Tenkaichi Budokai it is, but like it's the first time we're introduced to it, and it's a much smaller story. Like it doesn't have that huge scope, and then it's not until Dragon Ball Z, like when Raditz lands on Earth, that the audience is introduced to the idea or introduced to the fact that Goku is not only not just not human, he's not from Earth. You don't find it out till then. Mm-hmm. So there's the entire way through Dragon Ball, he's just effectively a human with a tail.
That's why I said, like, if you guys want a live action Dragon Ball Z, you need to do Dragon Ball first.
Thank you.
No, definitely. I'm not discounting it. I watched Dragon Ball.
Yeah, I'm just talking to the people that say, I want Dragon Ball Z. I want Dragon Ball Z. Okay, well, you need to do Dragon Ball first. Dragon Ball first. If they do Dragon Ball Z first, they're doing it wrong.
It's what gives you who is Goku. You see him because there is a time skip. There's about a ballpark 5-6 year time skip in maybe a little bit less in Dragon Ball.
Yeah, when he's a kid to being a teenager, yeah.
Yeah, so there's a bit of a time skip, but other than that, it's like, which again, you could go, like, if you wanted to go part 1, part 2, part 3, you could probably do something like, Red Ribbon Army, something, like whatever the next 2 larger arcs and kind of maybe rework the storyline in that respect. But again, you do need Dragon Ball.
I think, I guess, like, it could be like a series first. But I never seen that.
I'd rather have it as a series. Yeah. But it's, again, with a series, it's like, that's what I'm also hoping for with the success of. I'm hoping that the Wheel of Time is a success, and I'm hoping that Amazon's Lord of the Rings show is a success. I know it's fantasy from a completely different perspective, but the reason I'm saying that is these are super high budget television series. Because if they can pump the money in and it succeeds on that front with regards to either subscriptions or whatever their sort of their threshold is for success, I think you can possibly see something like it. But again, you're probably going to see
about that though, because like you brought Lord of the Rings. The difference between that though is Lord of the Rings is already an established property. Dragon Ball and all these other shonen stuff.
Dragon Ball is still established. What do you think?
I mean, yes, it to us, but it's still niche. I'm telling you, yes, we have our own like vocal fandom that loves Dragon Ball Z. But like, if you ask the rest of the people around the country, you probably like you hear some people that I know what it is, but I don't watch it, or I've seen it and it looks too weird and over the top. And this is why I feel like we're not ready for anime yet, because there's some anime properties, well, a lot of them, that are so over the top and so in your face and have so much concepts and lore and power levels where it may overwhelm people. I've seen that before. So it's like, I don't know if we could say like, oh, if the Lord of the Rings thing will be successful, they'll be more open to anime. I won't even say like, even if somehow the Cowboy Bebop and One Piece thing and Avatar on Netflix, if that's successful, they'll be more open to it. I don't even know if I could say that either. Alita almost got their foot in the door, but still didn't do enough. So I'm just like, I think the overall the culture, within America and stuff like that, they still need to get used to how anime is, and there still needs to be more. Oops, sorry, hit my microphone. There needs to be more saturation of the market, because I don't feel like people are accepting to it as much as we think they do. Yeah. Because like,
well, we need the gateway, like Alita was kind of it. I just think that the problem would be like just the kind of like the way they structure the characters, and at least shonen anime how they're very flat. And oh god, I have a lot of criticism of that. Like I love the scale. The characters is like the other thing I don't like is that the average shonen protagonist a lot of the time is that the person that's naturally talented and they only care about the three F's, friends, fighting, and food, nothing else. You know what I mean? And like to base a whole series around that person and to have Western audiences accept that person being literally a terrible human being, even though like they save the world, but like they literally don't care about the important things, like there's like people starving in this place, or you just let the bad guy go even though he's gonna genocide a whole planet or a whole galaxy or whatever. But we're good people and we have these forms and scale. I think that's like the main part that I think is like the worst. The thing that people falter, at least studios falter with when it comes to adapting anime.
You know what I bet they could do? You know what I bet they could do? Is I bet a good way that would fit into something that would be kind of the fantastical side for, that might draw in like, Tolkien fans and fans of, Game of Thrones and World of Time and stuff like that. One thing that might help with that is, in other things like the MCU, is why not adapt an isekai anime or an isekai manga or an isekai light novel? I think you could probably, because that gives you kind of you're the fish out of water in the sense of, culturally, because this is from a place far away from us.
Now, isekai, like I'm not entirely familiar, but like for me and also I guess people that don't like, if I'm not getting it wrong, it's isekai is like just like the protagonist is like an average person thrown into a fantastical world. That's
usually the most common trope, right? And like one of the running jokes and one of the running memes in sort of broader anime communities is that like a Western piece of media that fits into that concept would be Alice in Wonderland. It's a person in normal reality transported to a place that's fantastical. I think you could get away with something like that. Whether it's something like ReZero, whether it's something like, like that sort of one that I can think of off the top of my head. But there's all kinds. I mean, one story that I like was
Time.
Which one?
Wrinkle in Time.
Okay. Well, actually,
I didn't even try to give them a chance.
apparently the novels are quite good.
Yeah.
All I know is that when I saw that Wrinkle in Time trailer, it looked like a movie that a millionaire father would give his kid, because
it looked interesting.
It's
I don't
awful. It is awful.
Dude, literally, I can just imagine it. Just like, Dad, I want to make a movie. Okay, Wrinkle in Time comes out.
Literally, no.
I don't know what else was good, but like
just like Shark Boy Lava Girl.
The live action Alice in Wonderland, they tried that.
I like that. I don't like it. I don't see the problems with it that a lot of people sort of did.
I'll say like the overall designs and the world I really like. It's really, really cool. It's just the story and the characters are so flat. Like, especially Alice. Alice is a piece of wood in that movie.
She can be replaced with a plank and it won't change. No, that's the thing with a lot of anime characters. They're flat. I think that's the thing that people are going to have to gripe with the most. Okay, Ty. Yeah.
Yes. So I do have to wrap it up here, actually. Unfortunately, my phone's about to die. I know.
Yeah, we were just getting into it.
I would love to have you guys back next week when I have my computer back. Or if you guys would like, on Friday, we're actually going to do the actual celebration stream. Like we're going to bring people back and stuff like that. So I was going to do it tonight, but I need a little bit more time to prepare some other stuff.
Yeah.
And no one else from the team's here, so it wouldn't really be a celebration. So
Right.
But where we'll go around the horn. Where can we follow you and find you, DL?
Y'all can find me on the YouTubes.
On the YouTubes.
It's I'm DL. I talk about movies and shows and everything that are in geek culture. If you want to hear my hot takes on things, go ahead and check out that. I guess I could give my Twitter, even though I'm not that. I'm not on Twitter that much, other than messaging other YouTubers when they want to do streams or whatever. But you can follow me at YaKnowDL. It's YAKNOWD_Al. You can follow me on Twitter if you guys want to.
All right, Carlos.
Yeah, that one Carlos YT on Twitter. That one Carlos on YouTube. I have a few streams up. I had like college and dorm life and work has been getting me very busy, so I'm not really like planning on posting anything anytime soon. Even though I really want to, but you can always see me on these awesome streams, and speaking my opinion and stuff. And yeah, it's a pleasure being on.
Of course. And TW.
You can find me if you guys want to have a conversation somewhere. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, or Reddit at TWMcKay34. I have put it in the chat for y'all if you want to come by and say hello.
All right, guys. sorry about tonight. Not the best as far as like everything goes, but like technically. But I'm working to get it fixed, and I do appreciate everyone showing up. Tomorrow at 4:30, John with Jack. Jack is back. So Jack is hosting Jive with Jack again after taking a couple weeks off. And then Friday, I would love to have you all back for the actual like celebration stream. And then Saturday, we'll be doing the podcast. A couple notes. We have the Tadum thing. I know I hate saying it.
The what?
Tadum.
Did you not? Have you seen it yet? It's like Netflix fandom. And the reason it's called Tudum is it's basically, think of the Netflix sound of
the Netflix sound.
Tudum. That's why they called it that. I'm not joking.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. And it's like we talked to Netflix and they're gonna let us stream it as like a partner. But so yeah, definitely join us for that on September 29th. And then October 9th, we'll be having a guest, Richard Zatroni. He did like the stunt double work for Batman, and he was the zombie in Army of the Dead. So
Darth Vader in
Yep, that'll be a fun one. And then I do have some other guests, but I can't say who they are yet, just because I haven't 1,000% confirmed everything. But I'll be letting everyone know that soon. I do thank you guys. Thank you guys so much for coming on.
Oh, thanks for having us.
Glad to be here.
We do it for you guys, and we do it for the culture.